the discussion I wanted to have about this is because sometimes I will see videos and I will feel like I live in an alternate reality because it will be like some 17-year-old kid saying that Luke is a revolutionary and that Percy is not. And I'm like, that is literally the absolute reverse of like what is actually happening. But I feel like politically minded, at least if you want to bring like, and we should, considering what Greek mythology is, Luke is the kind of person who thinks that the only way to like make things better or to like get back at the people in power is to literally burn everything to the ground. Yes. And just to like make it super fucking blunt as like a white person, so like you can't get that mad at me, I'm very white, is that the only people who are willing to do that are white people, because we are the only ones that usually are not marginalized in another way that would die. And I always make the point that Percy Jackson is like the more real version because it's written by somebody who actually went through stuff in their life, not somebody cosplaying like they went through things in their life, like J.K. Rowling. Like, Rick Riordan actually went through things. He didn't have to lie about his backstory for people to root for him because he actually went through hard stuff. Mm-hmm. And so his book that he wrote with his wife would be about actually those things and about a character that is like the things that Percy does in the book is how you actually have those things happen. Because like you can like want the government to be overturned, but it's never going to go the way that you think it will. And it's also the way that people say like, oh, if you hate the gods, then you're on Luke's side. That's like saying that if you know that the government is corrupt, that you would be in the Capitol on January 6th. Like that's the exact comparison that you're making. Because Luke is saying that he hates the gods as a justification to literally wipe everyone out who doesn't believe in him or doesn't agree with him and thinks that that's the only way to save humanity. Mm-hmm. That's not at all the same thing. Like Percy and all the other kids that don't want him to be doing this and are basically begging him throughout the books to stop killing them, they don't like the gods either.
And listen to me.
Maybe you could say hi to your dad while we're here.
No thanks.
What could it hurt?
Your thing with your mom, I get it. It's different. It works for you, but my father, I don't want anything from him. He's had his chances. Honestly, you've done more for me in the past few days than my father's done in my entire life.
It isn't how it should be. It isn't. Eat or be eaten. Power and glory and nothing else matters. Ares is that way. Zeus is that way. My mother is that way. He isn't that way. He's better than that. Maybe I was that way once, but I don't want to be that way anymore.
I was just putting Thalia out of her misery when I stabbed her to death. Or like tried to stab her to death when she was not even like a sentient being that could even try to stop me. You should see Luke thinking that he's saving her from some horrible fate by killing her and feel like he has lost his mind. Like, you shouldn't actually be considering those sort of things. Like, you shouldn't be willing to consider innocent people dying because you think that if they die that you'll somehow get like the utopia that you desire. Like Jean was on our podcast on Monday, and I remember she was talking about The Last of Us, the Last of Us TV show. At a certain point, there's like a little kid, like a 5 or 6 year old kid, and it's a situation of like if they kill the kid, then they will put themselves out of danger, but then they would be killing like this little kid, and they kill the kid in the show, and Jean was talking about it because she was saying like that's what made her stop watching the show. What could your society possibly be worth fighting for if you kill children in order to get it? There is no point. And that's literally like the entire point of Luke, of like, if the only way that you can get the society and the world to look the way that you think it should is by murdering innocent children, then it's not worth ever doing anything, because then it's built on the bodies of killing innocent children. Like,
yeah. I mean, I've always wondered, like, because I know we compare Luke to Anakin Skywalker a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What have I done?
Why did the younglings have to die? Like, was there an explanation in that one?
The basic idea in Star Wars is
Yeah.
Palpatine basically tells Anakin, like, you don't know when those people might like turn against you, and those people
Oh.
aren't going to like be on your side. They're not going to want to join you. And so he basically is like, I need to take out anybody that is like a threat. And you can't possibly know, like, and it's the whole idea of like, even if this is like a little kid, they could grow up to hate you. Like the whole thing about Odysseus throwing a baby off of the balcony
Mm-hmm.
in the Odyssey and stuff. That general idea of like, this kid is innocent now, but it might grow up and hate me and want to kill me one day. And so it's the idea of like, if I take out all of these kids now, there's no people left in the galaxy that have the power to take me down. And now that I am like the supreme ruler, nobody will be able to challenge me and like take me out, and I'll be able to do what I want to do and get everything done that I want to get done. And that's like the basic reason of why he goes in there to do it. And he's like so focused on his task that he's willing to do that, and is like so sure that he's right. Like that's why he's such a good, like you were right with like comparing Luke to him, because it's very similar, of the idea of
Yeah.
being so sure that the way that you see the world, and that your like kind of goal is what's actually good for everybody. Like I don't think either one of those characters actually think that. Like I understand why Charlie says stuff like that, because he's playing this character, and you need to find something to like hold on to that resembles humanity, even when you're playing a villain like that, in order to do a good job playing him. Like Anakin just works so good with Luke because they're both so like focused on their task. And the only way I ever know how to describe like villains like that, like even Kylo, and I compare him to Kylo too in Star Wars,
Yeah.
that they see that there's people around them, but they don't really fully see you as like a fully fledged person.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they did, they wouldn't be able to like do the things that they can do. They just think that what they want needs to happen over like literally everything else in the world. And so they see people more as like ways to like get what they want, ways to be happy, ways to get like their needs met. And so they'll like have relationships that they think are meaningful, and they think like they will be like they will love people, but it's never like the kind of love that you should really get from actual people that aren't like this necessarily. But they do care about people, and they do love people. Like Luke does care about Annabeth, and he does love her in a really creepy predatory sort of way, but he does like love her, and he does love like Thalia, and he did care about Percy at a certain point. But also, like, he's not, none of the things of them as people will ever supersede what like he actually wants to do. And so like as soon as those people are in the way of like his path, like what he thinks he deserves to get, nothing that you say to those people will make them stop. That's like the whole thing with people like that, is that's why they can do all those horrible things to people, because as soon as you like are in their way in some way, all of that like love they have for you turns into this like, how dare you stop me? How dare you have the audacity to think that you could possibly stop me right now? Which is why like Anakin, kills Padme and kills all those kids and tries to kill Obi-Wan and turns into a giant charcoal piece. And like in Revenge of the Sith, and why like Kylo ends up fighting nothing, fighting air, and doesn't even realize it when he's fighting Luke, and then ends up dying when his mother has to literally like slap him in the face with the Force to get him to stop. People like Luke and Kylo and Anakin and anyone else you can think of like that, they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care if it makes things worse. They don't care if it like hurts people. Because they don't really see you as a full person. They don't. They see you as, that's the only way they can see people. And so they don't know another way, but that is how they end up like that. One of the things a lot of like general right-wing people do is they think that people on the left are pretending like we care about the things that we care about. That's why they like will like needle us with things that don't make sense to us, because they think that we're pretending to care about trans people or pretending to care about queer people, but we don't actually care. that much about marginalized people, and we're just pretending to so that we can like look good, because they will do stuff like that. And so it generally like surprises them when they realize, if they do realize, sometimes they don't, but sometimes they do realize that no, we actually do care about these people. We actually do care. We're not pretending to care. But people like those people, they just kind of, they like pretend like they care in the way because they see how other people act and they know that they should, but they don't actually care as much as other people do. And so they just assume that everyone else is pretending too.
Yeah.
And so like Luke would think like, oh, you're just pretending like you really don't like the gods and you're doing this just to protect all these other kids. You're really just doing this to try to stop me. You just don't have the guts to admit that you're just trying to make your dad proud. And it doesn't matter how many times that Percy tells him over and over again through like words and his actions and stuff that no, I don't care about Poseidon. I'm not happy with Poseidon at all. This isn't about Poseidon. This is about like all these other kids. These are the kids that I care about. Is everyone else like me? He could tell him that every single day and Luke will never believe him.
That's true.
Because he's just so sure that everyone believes what he believes, but they're just like not like man enough to admit it. That's like the best way to put it. They think everyone believes what they believe, but nobody else will like admit it. They'll just rather pretend like they don't. And it's like, no one else believes what you do.